Then the Lord spoke to Joshua, "Moses, my servant, is dead. Now arise and take these people across the Jordan." This was no gentle request. It was a divine order to take an untrained generation into enemy land to face giants, kings, fortresses with only one weapon, faith. "Be strong and courageous. Do not turn from my law to the right or to the left, for I will be with you wherever you go." Now under the weight of leadership, Joshua must cross into chaos. Behind him, a nation restless with fear. Before him, walls so thick no army has ever breached them, and above him, a voice that cannot be ignored. "Prepare yourselves. In 3 days, they cross a river that parts without wind. They march in silence around Jericho for 6 days. And on the 7th, the trumpets blow, but not every battle is won by faith. One man hides what should have been destroyed, and with his greed, he curses them all. Israel has sinned. I will not be with you until the evil is removed." As enemies close in, alliances turn into lies. The Gibeonites deceive with torn sandals and moldy bread, and Joshua must choose between judgment and mercy. Sun stands still over Gibeon and moon over the valley of Ajalon, and the sun did not move for an entire day. This isn't just a story of land, it's the clash of divine justice against human failure. And as the land is divided, every stone becomes a witness, and every step forward echoes one question. When you finally receive what God promised, will you still obey him? Music. After Moses, the Lord's servant, died, the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, who had helped Moses. The Lord said, "Moses, my servant, is dead. Now you and all these people must get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I'm giving them. I will give you every place where you set your foot, just as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon, and from the Euphrates River to the Mediterranean Sea. No one will be able to stand against you all your life. As I was with Moses, I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, so you may be successful wherever you go. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." So Joshua ordered the officers of the people, "Go through the camp and tell the people, get your provisions ready. 3 days from now, you will cross the Jordan here to go in and take possession of the land the Lord your God is giving you for your own." But to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joshua said, "Remember the command that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you. The Lord your God is giving you rest and has granted you this land. Your wives, your children, and your livestock may stay in the land that Moses gave you east of the Jordan. But all your fighting men must cross over ahead of your fellow Israelites. You're to help them until the Lord gives them rest, as he has done for you, and until they too have taken possession of the land the Lord your God is giving them. After that, you may go back and occupy your own land, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you east of the Jordan toward the sunrise." Then they answered Joshua, "Whatever you have commanded us, we will do, and wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we fully obeyed Moses, so we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels is against your word and does not obey it, whatever you may command them will be put to death. Only be strong and courageous." Joshua, son of Nun, secretly sent 2 spies from Shittim. He told them, "Go and look at the land, especially Jericho." They went and entered the house of a woman named Rahab. She was a prostitute, and they stayed at her house. Someone told the king of Jericho, "Some Israelite men came here tonight to spy out the land." So the king of Jericho sent this message to Rahab, "Bring out the men who came to you and entered your house. They are spies who came to look over the land." But the woman had hidden the 2 men. She said, "Yes, the men came to me, but I didn't know where they were from. When it was time to close the city gate at dark, the men left. I don't know where they went. Hurry after them, you might catch up with them." But in fact, she had taken them up to the roof and hidden them under stalks of flax she had laid out. The king's men left to chase after the spies toward the places to cross the Jordan River. As soon as they left, the city gate was shut. Before the spies went to sleep, Rahab went up to the roof and said to them, "I know the Lord has given you this land. We are all afraid of you. Everyone here is terrified. We heard how the Lord dried up the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt. We also heard what you did to Sihon and Og, the 2 Amorite kings east of the Jordan. You completely destroyed them. When we heard it, our hearts melted in fear, and no one has the courage to fight you. The Lord your God is God in heaven above and on earth below. So now, please swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my family because I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sign that you will save my father, mother, brothers, sisters, and all they have, and that you will keep us safe from death." The men said to her, "If you don't tell anyone what we are doing, we promise our lives for your lives. When the Lord gives us the land, we will treat you kindly and faithfully." Then she'll let them down by a rope through the window. Because her house was part of the city wall, she lived in the wall. She told them, "Go to the hills, so the pursuers won't find you. Hide there for 3 days until they return. Then you can go your way." The men said to her, "We will keep the promise you made us swear. But when we come into the land, you must tie this red rope in the window through which you let us down. Bring your father, mother, brothers, and all your family into your house. If anyone goes outside your house, their death is their own fault. We won't be responsible. But if anyone in your house is harmed, we will be responsible. If you tell anyone what we're doing, we are free from the promise you made us swear." She said, "I agree." So she sent them away and they left. Then she tied the red rope in the window. The men went to the hills and stayed there 3 days. The pursuers looked for them everywhere but didn't find them. Then the 2 men started back. They came down from the hills, crossed the river, and returned to Joshua. They told him everything that had happened. They said to Joshua, "The Lord has surely given the whole land into our hands. Everyone there is afraid of us." Early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites left Shittim and came to the Jordan River. They camped there before crossing it. After 3 days, the officers went through the camp. They gave orders to the people, "When you see the priests carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, follow them. Then you will know which way to go, since you've never been this way before. But stay about 2,000 cubits, almost half a mile, behind them. Don't go near the ark." Joshua told the people, "Make yourselves holy, because tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you." Joshua said to the priests, "Pick up the ark of the covenant and go ahead of the people." So they picked it up and went ahead of them. The Lord said to Joshua, "Today I will begin to make you great in the eyes of all Israel. So they will know that I am with you as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the ark of the covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's water, stand still in the river." Joshua said to the Israelites, "Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will drive out before you the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Jebusites, Amorites, and Jebusites. See, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth will go ahead of you into the Jordan. Now choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, 1 from each tribe." As soon as the priests who carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, the water flowing downstream will be cut off and stand up in a heap. So when the people left their camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carrying the ark of the covenant went ahead of them. Now the Jordan overflows its banks during the harvest season. But as soon as the priests carrying the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. It piled up in a heap a great distance away at a town called Adam near Zerathon. The water flowing down to the Dead Sea was completely cut off. So the people crossed over opposite Jericho. The priests carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firmly on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan while all Israel passed by until the whole nation had finished crossing on dry ground. After the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, "Choose 12 men from among the people, 1 from each tribe. Tell them to take 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests are standing. Carry them with you and put them down at the place where you stay tonight." So Joshua called together the 12 men he had chosen from the Israelites, 1 from each tribe, and said to them, "Go to the middle of the Jordan in front of the ark of the Lord your God. Each of you is to take up a stone on your shoulder according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask you, 'What do these stones mean?' tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters were cut off. These stones are to be a lasting reminder to the people of Israel." So the Israelites did as Joshua commanded them. They took 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites, as the Lord had told Joshua. They carried them to their camp and set them down there. Joshua also set up 12 stones in the middle of the Jordan at the place where the priests who carried the ark had stood, and they are still there to this day. Now, the priests who carried the ark stayed standing in the middle of the Jordan until everything the Lord had commanded Joshua was done by the people, just as Moses had told Joshua. The people hurried and crossed over. As soon as all of them had finished crossing, the ark of the Lord and the priests came to the other side while the people watched. The men of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh crossed over, armed for battle in front of the Israelites as Moses had directed them. About 40,000 armed soldiers crossed over before the Lord to the plains of Jericho for battle. That day the Lord made Joshua great in the eyes of all Israel, and they respected him all the days of his life, just as they had respected Moses. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Command the priests carrying the ark of the covenant to come up out of the Jordan." So Joshua commanded the priests, "Come up out of the Jordan." And the priests came up out of the river carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord. No sooner had they set their feet on dry ground than the waters of the Jordan returned to their place and ran at flood stage as before. On the 10th day of the first month, the people went up from the Jordan and camped at Gilgal on the eastern border of Jericho. And Joshua set up at Gilgal the 12 stones they had taken out of the Jordan. He said to the Israelites, "In the future, when your children ask their parents, 'What do these stones mean?' tell them, 'Israel crossed the Jordan on dry ground. For the Lord your God dried up the Jordan before you until you had crossed over. The Lord your God did to the Jordan what he had done to the Red Sea when he dried it up before us, until we had crossed over. He did this so that all the peoples of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is powerful, and so that you might always fear the Lord your God. When all the Amorite kings west of the Jordan and all the Canaanite kings along the coast heard how the Lord had dried up the Jordan River before the Israelites until they had crossed over, their hearts melted. They were so afraid that they had no courage left to fight Israel. At that time the Lord said to Joshua, "Make flint knives and circumcise the Israelites again." So Joshua made flint knives and circumcised the Israelites at Gibeath-Haaraloth. This is why Joshua circumcised them. All the men who came out of Egypt who were old enough to fight had died in the wilderness after leaving Egypt. All the people who came out had been circumcised, but all the people born in the wilderness during the journey from Egypt had not. The Israelites had wandered in the wilderness for 40 years until all the men old enough to fight had died because they didn't obey the Lord. The Lord had sworn that they would not see the land He promised to give their ancestors, a land flowing with milk and honey, so He raised up their children in their place. These were the ones Joshua circumcised. They were still uncircumcised because they had not been circumcised during the journey. After the whole nation had been circumcised, they stayed in the camp until they healed. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Today I have rolled away the shame of Egypt from you." So the place has been called Gilgal to this day. On the evening of the 14th day of the month, while camped at Gilgal on the plains of Jericho, the Israelites celebrated the Passover. The day after the Passover, that very day, they ate some of the produce of the land, unleavened bread and roasted grain. The manna stopped the day after they ate this food from the land. There was no longer any manna for the Israelites, but that year they ate the crops of Canaan. When Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you for us or for our enemies?" "Neither," he replied. "I am the commander of the army of the Lord. Now I have come." Then Joshua fell face down to the ground in reverence and asked him, "What message does my Lord have for his servant?" The commander of the Lord's army replied, "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy." And Joshua did so. The gates of Jericho were tightly shut because the people were afraid of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Look, I have handed Jericho over to you along with its king and its strong warriors. March around the city once a day for 6 days. All the armed men must march around the city. Have 7 priests carry trumpets made from ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear the priests give one long blast on the ram's horns, tell the people to shout loudly. Then the walls of the city will fall down and the people can go straight in." So Joshua son of Nun called the priests and said to them, "Take the ark of the covenant of the Lord. Have 7 priests carry ram's horned trumpets in front of it." And he told the people, "Mark around the city. Armed men go ahead of the ark of the Lord." When Joshua had spoken to the people, the 7 priests with the ram's horns started marching in the Lord's presence, blowing the trumpets. The ark of the Lord's covenant followed them. The armed guard marched ahead of the priests who blew the trumpets, and the rear guard followed the ark. All this time the trumpets were blowing, but Joshua had commanded the people, "Don't shout. Don't say a word until the day I tell you to shout, then shout." So Joshua had the ark of the Lord carried around the city once. Then they returned to camp and stayed the night there. Joshua got up early the next morning and the priests carried the ark of the Lord. The 7 priests with the trumpets went forward blowing their trumpets, and the armed men went ahead of them with the rear guard following the ark of the Lord. The trumpets kept sounding. On the 2nd day they marched around the city once and returned to camp. They did this for 6 days. On the 7th day they got up at dawn and marched around the city 7 times in the same way. That was the only day they went around it 7 times. On the 7th time, when the priests blew the trumpets, Joshua said to the people, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city. The city and everything in it must be set apart for the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute and all with her and her house shall be spared because she hid the spies we sent. But keep away from the things that are set apart for the Lord. If you take any of them, you will bring trouble and destruction to the Israelite camp. All the silver, gold, bronze, and iron belong to the Lord. They must be put into his treasury." When the trumpet sounded, the people shouted. At the sound of the trumpet and the people's shout, the wall collapsed. Everyone charged straight in and they took the city. They completely destroyed everything in the city, men, women, young and old, cattle, sheep, and donkeys with the sword. Joshua said to the 2 men who had spied out the land, "Go into the prostitute's house and bring her out, and all who belong to her just as you promised her." So the young men who had done the spying went in and brought out Rahab, her father, mother, brothers, and all who belonged to her. They brought out her whole family and put them in a safe place outside the camp of Israel. Then they burned the whole city and everything in it. But they put the silver, gold, and articles of bronze and iron into the treasury of the Lord's house. But Joshua spared Rahab the prostitute, her family, and all who belonged to her because she had hidden the spies Joshua had sent to Jericho. She still lives among the Israelites to this day. At that time Joshua declared a curse. "May the Lord curse anyone who tries to rebuild the city of Jericho. It will cost him his firstborn son to lay its foundations and his youngest son to set up its gates." So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame spread throughout the land. But the Israelites were not faithful in keeping the things set apart for the Lord. A man named Achan, son of Ki, son of Zabdi, son of Zerah from the tribe of Judah, took some of those things, for the Lord was very angry with Israel. Joshua sent some men from Jericho to Ai, "A town near Bethan, east of Bethel," he told them. "Go up and spy out the land." So they went and checked out Ai. When they returned to Joshua, they said, "We don't all need to go. 2,000 or 3,000 men will be enough to take Ai. It's a small town." So about 3,000 men went up, but they were defeated by the men of Ai. The men of Ai chased them from the city gate all the way to Shebarim, and struck down about 36 of them. The Israelites were filled with fear and lost all courage. Then Joshua tore his clothes and fell face down to the ground before the ark of the Lord. He stayed there until evening, along with the elders of Israel. They put dust on their heads. Joshua said, "O Lord God, why did you bring us across the Jordan at all, just to let the Amorites destroy us? We should have been content to stay on the other side. Lord, what can I say now that Israel has turned and run from their enemies? The Canaanites and everyone else in the land will hear about this. They will surround us and wipe us out. Then what will you do to defend your great name?" The Lord said to Joshua, "Stand up. Why are you lying on your face? Israel has sinned. They have broken my covenant. They stole some of the things that were set apart for destruction. They lied and hid them among their own belongings. That's why the Israelites can't stand against their enemies. They turn their backs and run because they are cursed. I will not stay with you unless you destroy the things that were supposed to be destroyed. Get up and tell the people, make yourselves holy. Tell them, tomorrow, the Lord says, Israel, you have things among you that must be destroyed. You will not be able to stand against your enemies until you remove them. In the morning, you must present yourselves tribe by tribe. The Lord will choose one tribe, then that tribe must come forward family by family. The Lord will choose one family, then that family must come forward man by man. The one who is caught with the things that should have been destroyed will be burned along with everything he has. He has broken the covenant of the Lord and has done a terrible thing in Israel. Early the next morning, Joshua had Israel come forward by tribes, and the tribe of Judah was chosen. He had the tribe of Judah come forward, and the family of the Zerahites was chosen. Then he had the Zerahite family come forward by men, and Zabdi was chosen. Joshua had Zabdi's family come forward man by man, and Achan son of Ki was chosen. Then Joshua said to Achan, "My son, give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel. Tell the truth. Don't hide anything from me." Achan replied, "It's true. I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I did. I saw a beautiful robe from Babylon, 200 shekels of silver, and a bar of gold weighing 50 shekels. I wanted them and took them. They are hidden in the ground inside my tent with the silver under them." So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent. There it was, hidden in the tent with the silver underneath. They took the things from the tent and brought them to Joshua and all the Israelites. They spread them out before the Lord. Then Joshua and all Israel took Achan, the silver, the robe, the gold bar, his sons, his daughters, his oxen, donkeys, sheep, his tent, and everything he had, and brought them to the valley of Iori. Joshua said, "Why have you brought trouble on us? The Lord will bring trouble on you today." Then all Israel stoned him. They burned the bodies and piled rocks over them. They raised a large pile of rocks over him, which remains to this day. Then the Lord turned away from his fierce anger. That place has been called the Valley of Achor, trouble, ever since. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid or discouraged. Take all the army with you and go up to attack. I have given the king of Ai, his people, his city, and his land into your hands. You will do to Ai and its king what you did to Jericho and its king, but this time you can keep the plunder and livestock for yourselves. Set an ambush behind the city." So Joshua and all the soldiers got ready to go up to Ai. He chose 30,000 strong and brave men and sent them out at night. He ordered them, "Set an ambush behind the city. Stay close, but don't be seen. Be ready. I and the rest of the men will approach the city. When they come out against us like they did before, we'll run away from them. They'll chase us just as they did before, and we'll run from them. Then you come out from your hiding place and take the city. The Lord your God will give it to you. When you have taken the city, set it on fire. Do what the Lord has commanded. Now go, I'm giving you the orders." So Joshua sent them out, and they went to the place of ambush and waited between Bethel and Ai to the west of 3. But Joshua stayed that night with the rest of the army. Early the next morning, Joshua assembled his men. He and the elders of Israel led them up to Ai. The entire army that was with him marched up and approached the city. They camped to the north of Ai with a valley between them and the city. Joshua had taken about 5,000 men and set them in ambush between Bethel and Ai to the west of the city. The main force was stationed north of the city, and the ambush was to the west. That night, Joshua went into the valley. When the king of Ai saw this, he and all his men hurried out early in the morning to meet Israel in battle at a place overlooking the Arabah. He didn't know there was an ambush behind the city. Joshua and all Israel let themselves be driven back. They ran toward the desert. All the men of Ai were called to chase them, and they chased Joshua and were lured away from the city. Not a man was left in Ai or Bethel who did not go after Israel. They left the city open and ran after Israel. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Hold out toward Ai the javelin that's in your hand. I will give the city into your hand." So Joshua held out his javelin toward Ai. As soon as he did, the men in ambush rose quickly from their position and ran into the city. They captured it and quickly set it on fire. When the men of Ai looked back, they saw smoke rising from the city. They had no way to escape in any direction. and the Israelites who had been running turned to attack them. When Joshua and all Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city and that smoke was rising from it, they turned and attacked the men of Ai. The other Israelites came out of the city and trapped the men of Ai in the middle with Israelites on both sides. They struck them down. They captured the king of Ai alive and brought him to Joshua. When Israel had finished killing all the men of Ai in the open fields and wilderness where they had chased them, and every one of them had been killed by the sword, all the Israelites returned to Ai and killed those who were left. 12,000 men and women died that day. All the people of Ai. Joshua kept holding out his javelin until all the people of Ai were destroyed. But Israel kept the animals and goods from the city for themselves as the Lord had commanded Joshua. So Joshua burned Ai and made it a permanent heap of ruins, a desolate place to this day. He hung the king of Ai on a tree and left him there until evening. At sunset, Joshua had him taken down and thrown at the city gate. They piled a big heap of rocks over him, which remains to this day. Then Joshua built an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel, on Mount Ebal, just as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded the Israelites. He built it using uncut stones, as instructed in the law of Moses. They offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings there to the Lord. There Joshua copied on stones the law of Moses in front of the Israelites. All Israel, including foreigners and native-born elders, officials, and judges, stood on both sides of the ark in front of the priests carrying it. Half stood in front of Mount Gerizim and half in front of Mount Ebal, as Moses had commanded earlier for the blessing of the people. Then Joshua read every word of the law, the blessings and the curses, just as written in the book of the law. There wasn't a single word that Moses had commanded that Joshua didn't read to the whole assembly of Israel, including women, children, and foreigners living among them. When all the kings west of the Jordan heard about what had happened, those in the hill country, the western hills, and along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, as far as Lebanon, the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, they all joined together to fight against Joshua and Israel. But when the people of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they decided to trick him. They pretended to be messengers from far away. They packed old sacks on their donkeys, old wineskins that were cracked and mended, wore old patched sandals on their feet, and old clothes. All the bread they carried was dry and moldy. They went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal and said to him and the Israelites, "We have come from a distant country. Make a peace treaty with us." But the Israelites said to the Hivites, "How do we know you live far away? Maybe you live near us. We can't make a treaty with you if you do." They said to Joshua, "We are your servants." But Joshua asked, "Who are you? Where did you come from?" They answered, "We come from a very far country. We've heard of the fame of the Lord your God, everything he did in Egypt and what he did to the two kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, Sihon king of Heshbon and Og king of Bashan at Ashtaroth. Our leaders and everyone living in our country told us, 'Take provisions for your journey and go meet them. Say to them, we are your servants. Make a treaty with us. Look at our bread. It was warm when we left home, but now it's dry and moldy. These wineskins were new when we filled them, but now they're cracked, and our clothes and sandals are worn out because of the long journey.'" The Israelites looked at their supplies, but they didn't ask the Lord what to do. So Joshua made a peace treaty with them to let them live. The leaders of the people confirmed it with an oath. 3 days after making the treaty, the Israelites found out the Gibeonites lived nearby, right in the land. So the Israelites set out and came to their cities on the 3rd day. Their cities were Gibeon, Kir, Biroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the Israelites didn't attack them because the leaders had sworn an oath in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. The whole assembly complained against the leaders, but the leaders said, "We've given them our oath in the name of the Lord. We can't touch them now. This is what we'll do. We'll let them live so we won't be punished for breaking the oath we made." The leaders added, "Let them live, but make them woodcutters and water carriers for the entire community." So the people kept the leaders' promise. Then Joshua summoned the Gibeonites and said, "Why did you lie to us and say you were from far away when you lived near us? Now you're under a curse. You'll always serve as woodcutters and water carriers for the house of my God." They answered Joshua, "Your servants were clearly told how the Lord your God had commanded Moses to give you the whole land and to wipe out all its people. We feared for our lives because of you, so we did this. Now we're in your hands. Do to us whatever seems good and right to you." So Joshua saved them from being killed by the Israelites. But he made them woodcutters and water carriers for the community and for the altar of the Lord at the place the Lord would choose. And that's what they still do today. When Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had captured Ai and destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and its king, he also heard that the people of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were living among them. He and his people were very afraid because Gibeon was a big city like one of the royal cities and its men were strong. So Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent a message to Hoham, king of Hebron, Piram, king of Jarmuth, Japhia, king of Lachish, and Dia, king of Eglon, saying, "Come and help me attack Gibeon because it has made peace with Joshua and the Israelites." So the 5 kings of the Amorites, Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon, joined forces. They and their armies surrounded Gibeon and attacked it. The people of Gibeon sent a message to Joshua at Gilgal, "Don't abandon us. Come quickly and save us. Help us, because all the Amorite kings living in the hill country have joined forces against us." So Joshua and his entire army, including all his best warriors, went up from Gilgal. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them. I have handed them over to you. Not one of them will be able to stand against you." Joshua marched all night from Gilgal and surprised them. The Lord caused the Amorites to panic before Israel. Israel defeated them completely at Gibeon. Then they chased them down the road toward Beth-horon and struck them down all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. As the Amorites ran from the Israelites down the hill from Beth-horon, the Lord hurled large hailstones on them from the sky all the way to Azekah. More died from the hailstones than by the swords of the Israelites. On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua spoke to the Lord in front of Israel. He said, "Sun, stand still over Gibeon, moon over the valley of Elen." So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped until Israel defeated its enemies. This is written in the book of Joshua. The sun stayed in the middle of the sky and didn't go down for about a whole day. There has never been a day like it before or since when the Lord listened to a man. The Lord was fighting for Israel. Then Joshua and all Israel returned to the camp at Gilgal. Meanwhile, the 5 kings ran away and hid in a cave at Maste. Someone told Joshua, "The 5 kings are hiding in a cave at Massah." Joshua said, "Roll large stones over the mouth of the cave and put some men there to guard it. But don't stay there yourselves. Chase your enemies and attack them from behind. Don't let them get back to their cities, for the Lord your God has given them into your hands." So Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely, but a few escaped to their walled cities. Then the whole army returned safely to Joshua at the camp at Makkedah. No one dared to speak against the Israelites. Joshua said, "Open the mouth of the cave and bring out those 5 kings to me." They brought the 5 kings out: Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they had brought them out, Joshua called for all the men of Israel. He told the commanders who had gone with him, "Come here and put your feet on the necks of these kings." So they came and put their feet on their necks. Joshua said, "Don't be afraid or discouraged. Be strong and brave. This is what the Lord will do to all the enemies you are going to fight." Then Joshua struck and killed the kings and hung them on 5 trees. They were left hanging until evening. At sunset, Joshua gave the order to take them down from the trees and throw their bodies into the cave where they had hidden. Large stones were placed over the cave entrance, and they are still there to this day. That same day, Joshua captured Madah and destroyed it completely, including its king. No one was left alive, and he treated the king of Makkah as he had treated the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel went from Makkedah to Libnah and attacked it. The Lord handed it over, and they destroyed everyone in it, including the king. No one was left alive, and they treated the king of Libnah as they had treated the king of Jericho. Then Joshua and all Israel went from Libnah to Lachish. They surrounded it and attacked it. The Lord handed Lachish over, and they captured it on the 2nd day. They destroyed everyone in it, just as they had done to Libnah. Then Horam king of Gaza came to help Lachish, but Joshua defeated him and his army. No one was left alive. Then Joshua and all Israel went from Lachish to Eglon. They surrounded it and attacked it. That day they captured Eglon and destroyed everyone in it, just as they had done to Lachish. Then Joshua and all Israel went from Eglon to Hebron and attacked it. They captured it and destroyed everyone in it, including the king and all nearby towns. No one was left alive, just as they had done to Eglon. Then Joshua and all Israel turned back and attacked Dyer. Then Joshua and all Israel turned back and attacked Debir. They captured the city, its king, and its villages. They destroyed everyone in it, as they had done to Hebron and Libnah. So Joshua conquered the whole southern region, the hill country, the Negev, the western hills, and the mountain slopes, completely destroying all their kings and leaving no one alive. He did it all in one campaign because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Joshua conquered everything from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza and from Goshen to Gibeon. All these kings and their lands Joshua conquered at one time because the Lord God of Israel was fighting for Israel. Then Joshua and all Israel returned to the camp at Gilgal. When Jabin, king of Hazor, heard what happened, he sent messages to Joab, king of Madon, the king of Shimon, the king of Achshaph, and the kings in the northern hill country, in the Arabah, south of Kinth, in the western hills, and in Naboth by the sea. He also sent messages to the Canaanites in the east and west, the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, and Jebusites in the hill country, and the Hivites at the foot of Mount Hermon in the land of Mizpah. All these kings joined forces and came together with all their armies, a huge number of people, as many as the sand on the seashore. They also had many horses and chariots. All these kings joined forces and camped together at the waters of Moram to fight against Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, "Don't be afraid of them. Tomorrow at this time, I will hand them all over to you dead. You are to hamstring their horses and burn their chariots." So Joshua and his whole army attacked them suddenly at the waters of Meam. The Lord handed them over to Israel. They chased them all the way to Greater Sidon, to Misreph Maim, and to the valley of Mizpah in the east. Not one of them was left alive. Joshua did as the Lord commanded. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots. At that time, Joshua turned back and captured Hazor. He killed its king, Heza had been the leader of all these kingdoms. They killed everyone in the city. No one was left alive. Then they burned Hazor. Joshua captured all these kings and their cities. He killed them all as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. But Israel did not burn any cities built on hills except Hazor, which Joshua burned. The Israelites took all the plunder and livestock from these cities for themselves, but they killed everyone and left no survivors. Joshua did everything the Lord had commanded Moses, and Moses had commanded Joshua. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. So Joshua took all that land, the hill country, the southern area, all the land of Gan, the western hills, the Arabah, and the mountains of Israel and their valleys. This included Mount Halak, which rises towards Sai all the way to Balgad in the valley of Lebanon below Mount Hermon. Joshua captured all their kings and killed them. Joshua fought with all these kings for a long time. No city made peace with Israel except the Hivites living in Gibeon. Israel conquered all the others in battle. The Lord made their hearts stubborn so they would fight against Israel and be destroyed completely. He showed them no mercy and completely destroyed them as the Lord had commanded Moses. At that time Joshua went and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country from Hebron Dia Anab and all the hill country of Judah and Israel. Joshua completely destroyed them and their towns. No Anakites were left in Israelite territory. Only in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod did any remain. So Joshua took the entire land just as the Lord had promised Moses. He gave it to Israel as an inheritance, dividing it among the tribes, and the land had rest from war. These are the kings the Israelites defeated, and whose land they took east of the Jordan River, from the Arnon Valley to Mount Hermon, including the eastern side of the Jordan Valley. King Sihon of the Amorites who lived in Heshbon. He ruled from Oroah on the edge of the Arnon Valley through the middle of the valley, half of Gilead up to the Jabbok River, which is the border of the Ammonites. He also ruled over the eastern Jordan Valley from the Sea of Galilee to the Dead Sea up to Beth Jezimoth and southward below the slopes of Pisgah. They also defeated King Og of Bashan, one of the last of the Rephaim giants who lived in Asheroth and Edrei. He ruled over Mount Hermon, Selikah, all of Bashan, up to the borders of the Geshurites and Maccathites, and half of Gilead, up to the border of King Sihon of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites defeated these kings. Moses gave their land to the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and half the tribe of Manasseh. Kings defeated west of the Jordan River. These are the kings Joshua and the Israelites defeated west of the Jordan River from Balgad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which rises towards Sari. Joshua gave their land to the tribes of Israel as their inheritance, dividing it among them. The lands included the hill country, the western foothills, the Jordan Valley, the mountain slopes, the wilderness, and the Negev. These lands belonged to the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. The king of Jericho, 1 the king of Ai near Bethel, 1 the king of Jerusalem, 1 the king of Hebron, 1 the king of Jarmuth, 1 the king of Lachish, 1 the king of Eglon, 1 the king of Gaza, 1 the king of Debir, 1 the king of Gada, 1 the king of Hormah, 1 the king of Arad, 1 the king of Libnah, 1 the king of Adullam, 1 the king of Makkedah, 1 the king of Bethel, 1 the king of Tapua, 1 the king of Hepher, 1 the king of Hepher, 1 the king of Aphkeh, 1 the king of Lasharon, 1 the king of Madon, 1 the king of Hazor, 1 the king of Shimon Meron, 1 the king of Hasheph, 1 the king of Tanakh, 1 the king of Megiddo, 1 the king of Kadesh, 1 the king of Joknim in Carmel, 1 the king of Dor in Napath, 1 the king of Goyim in Gilgal, 1 the king of Doyem in Gilgal, 1 the king of Susa, 1 in total 31 kings were defeated. Joshua was now very old. The Lord said to him, "You are old, and there is still much land left to be taken. This is the land that remains. All the regions of the Philistines and the Geshurites from the Shihori River east of Egypt to the border of Ekron in the north. This is considered Canaanite territory. The 5 Philistine rulers of Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, the Avites in the south, all the land of the Canaanites from Myara of the Sidonians to Ork to the border of the Amorites, the area of the Galileans, all Lebanon to the east, from Baal-Gad below Mount Hermon to Lebo-Hamath, all the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon to Mizraim, all the I myself will drive them out before the Israelites. Be sure to assign this land to Israel as an inheritance, just as I have instructed you. Now divide this land among the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh." The other half-tribe, along with the tribes of Reuben and Gad, had already received their inheritance east of the Jordan River as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had given them. Their territory extended from Aurora on the edge of the Arnon Valley, including the town in the middle of the valley, the entire plateau of Medeba as far as Dan, all the cities of King Sihon of the Amorites who reigned in Heshbon up to the border of the Ammonites, Gilead, the territory of the Geshurites and Maccathites, all of Mount Hermon, and all of Bashan up to Kael, the entire kingdom of Og and Bashan who reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He was the last of the Rephaim. Moses had defeated them and driven them out, but the Israelites did not drive out the Geshurites and Maccathites. They continued to live among Israel to this day. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses gave no inheritance. The offerings made by fire to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance as he promised them. Moses had given the tribe of Reuben an inheritance according to their clans. Their territory extended from Aurora on the edge of the Arnon Valley. including the town in the middle of the valley, the entire plateau by Medeb Heshbon, and all its towns on the plateau: Don, Bamoth, Baal, Beth, Balmean, Gias, Kedmoth, Mepheth, Kiriam, Sebaz, Rith, Shahar on the hill in the valley, Beth Pur, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jess, all the cities on the plateau, and the entire kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshab. Moses had defeated him, and the chiefs of Midian, Elvi, Rem, Zur, Hur, and Ra, princes allied with Sihon who lived in that land. The Israelites also killed Balaam son of Bor, who practiced divination with the sword among the others they killed. The boundary of the Reubenites was the Jordan River. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Reuben, including its towns and villages. Moses had given the tribe of Gad an inheritance according to their clans. Their territory included Jazer, all the towns of Gilead, and half the land of the Ammonites as far as Oro near Rabbah, from Heshbon to Ramoth, Mizpah and Betnim, and from Mahanaim to the border of Dire in the valley, Beth Haram, Beth Nimrah, Succoth, and Zah, the rest of the kingdom of Sihon king of Hesh. The Jordan River served as their boundary up to the southern end of the Sea of Galilee. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Gad, including its towns and villages. Moses had given half the tribe of Manasseh an inheritance according to their clans. Their territory extended from Mahanaim through all of Bashan, the entire kingdom of Og king of Bashan, including all the towns of Yair and Bashan, 60 towns in total. Half of Gilead and Ashtaroth and Ada, the royal cities of Og in Bashan, were given to the descendants of Mashah son of Manasseh, for half of the descendants of Mashah according to their clans. These were the territories Moses had distributed as an inheritance on the plains of Moab, east of the Jordan River, across from Jericho. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance as he promised them. Greater than, division of the land west of the Jordan. The Israelites received their land in Canaan. Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the leaders of the tribes assigned the land to them. They assigned the land by casting lots as the Lord had commanded through Moses. For the 9.5 tribes, Moses had already given land to the 2.5 tribes east of the Jordan River, but he did not give any land to the Levites. The descendants of Joseph had become 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. The Levites were given no land, only towns to live in with pasture lands for their animals. So the Israelites divided the land just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Caleb's inheritance. The people of Judah came to Joshua at Gilgal. Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kizite said, "You know what the Lord said to Moses about you and me at Kadesh Barnea? I was 40 years old when Moses sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land. I brought back a report according to my convictions. But my fellow Israelites who went with me made the people afraid. I, however, followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day Moses swore to me, 'The land where your feet have walked will be your inheritance and that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly.' Now, just as the Lord promised, he has kept me alive for 45 years since he said this to Moses, while Israel moved about in the wilderness. So, here I am today, 85 years old. I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then. Now, give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You heard then that the Anakites were there, and their cities were large and fortified. But with the Lord helping me, I will drive them out just as he said." Then Joshua blessed Caleb son of Jephunneh and gave him Hebron as his inheritance. So Hebron has belonged to Caleb son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite ever since, because he followed the Lord, the God of Israel, wholeheartedly. Hebron used to be called Kiriath Arba after Arba, who was the greatest man among the Anakites. Then the land had rest from war. The land given to the tribe of Judah, divided by families, reached south to the border of Edom as far as the wilderness of Zin in the south. Their southern border started at the southern end of the Dead Sea. It went south of Scorpion Pass, continued to Zin, then went up south of Kadesh Barnea, past Hesron, went up to Adar, and turned toward Karka. It passed along to Asman and joined the brook of Egypt, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. This was their southern border. The eastern border was the Dead Sea up to the mouth of the Jordan River. The northern border started from the Bay of the Sea at the mouth of the Jordan, went up to Beth Hoglah, passed north of Beth Arabah, and went up to the stone of Bohan son of Reuben. The border went up to Dire from the valley of Achor, turned north to Gilgal facing the pass of Adithium south of the gorge, continued to the waters of Enemesh, and came out at En. Then it went up the valley of Ben-Hinnom along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, Jerusalem, climbed to the top of the hill west of the Hinnom Valley at the northern end of the valley of Rephmi. From the hilltop, the border headed toward the spring of the waters of Neph, came out at the towns of Mount Ephron, and went down toward Baalah, Kiriath Jearim. It curved westward from Baalah to Mount Se, ran along the northern slope of Mount Kesalon, continued down to Beth Shemesh, and crossed to Timnah. It went to the northern slope of Ekron, turned towards Shekaran, passed along to Mount Baalah, and reached Gabenel. The border ended at the sea. The western border was the Mediterranean Sea. These were the borders of the land given to the tribe of Judah, divided by families. As the Lord commanded Joshua, he gave Caleb son of Jephunneh a portion in Judah, Kiriath Arba. Hebron Arba was the father of Enoch. Caleb drove out from Hebron the 3 sons of Enoch, Cheshiaman and Talmi. From there he marched against the people living in Dir, formerly called Kiriath. Caleb said, I will give my daughter Achsah in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher. Enil, son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, captured it, so Caleb gave his daughter Achsah to him in marriage. When Achsah came to Enil, she urged him to ask her father for a field. She got off her donkey and Caleb asked her, What can I do for you? She replied, Do me a special favor. Since you have given me land in the Negev, give me also springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs, towns in Judah's territory. This is the inheritance of the tribe of Judah, divided by families. The southernmost towns near the border of Edom were Kabel, Eddah, Jaga, Kena, Diona, Adada, Kadesh, Zohar, 8 now, Telmeh, Beoloth, Hazor, Hadada, Keroth, Hezron, Amam, Shamar, Mulada, Hazar, Gada, Heshman, Beth, Plet, Hazar, Shuel, Berba, Biziochia, Bala, Ainezin, Elad, Kasi, Lorma, Siklag, Madmana, Sansana, Leboth, Shilem, Ain, and Rim, a total of 29 towns with their villages in the western foothills. Shtol, Zora, Ashana, Zanoah, Inani, Tapua, Jarmuth, Ajalam Su, Azaka, Shahim, Adita, and Gederotam. 14 towns with their villages, Zenan, Hadasha, Medalgad, Dalin, Mispar, Jakila, Lachish, Eglon, Caban, Lamas, Kiddush, Gederoth, Beth, Degan, Nama, and Makeda. 16 towns with their villages, Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Ifta, Ashna, Enzib, Kala, Aksib, and Marsha. 9 towns with their villages. Ekron with its surrounding settlements and villages. From Ekron to the sea, all that were by the side of Ashdod with their villages. Ashdod, its towns and villages. Gaza, its towns and villages up to the brook of Egypt and the Mediterranean Sea. In the hill country, Shamir, Jatir, Su, Dana, Kiriath, Sanadir, Anabisk, Anim, Gan, Holon, and Gilo, 11 towns with their villages. Arab, Duma, Ishan, Janim, Bethtap, Afiki, Humta, Kiryat, Arba, Hebron, and Zor, 9 towns with their villages. Ma, Carmel, Zay, Jutha, Jezreel, Joktam, Zanoah, Ken, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10s with their villages. Halhel, Bethsur, Geda, Marath, Bethanoth, and Elikon, 6 towns with their villages. Kiriath Baal, Kiriath Jarem, and Rabbah, 2 towns with their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Arabah, Midden, Sika, Nibshan, the city of Salt, and Engedi, 6 towns with their villages. But the people of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites living in Jerusalem, so the Jebusites live there with the people of Judah to this day. The land given to Joseph's descendants started at the Jordan River near Jericho, east of the city's waters. It went through the wilderness up into the hill country of Bethel. From Bethel, also called Eles, it continued to Atareth, which belonged to the Arites. Then it went west to the area of the Japhletites, down to Lower Betharan, and on to Gaza, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. So the descendants of Joseph, Manasseh, and Ephraim received their land. The land for Ephraim's families started at Arath Adar on the east, and went to Upper Beth Horon. From there it extended to the sea. On the north it went from Machmthath, turned east to Tanth Shiloh, and passed by it to Junoah on the east. Then it went down from Junoah to Adaroth and Nara, touched Jericho, and ended at the Jordan River. From Tapua, the border went west to the Kana ravine and ended at the sea. This was the land given to Ephraim's families. Some towns and their villages within Manasseh's territory were also given to Ephraim, but the people of Ephraim did not drive out the Canaanites living in Giza. So the Canaanites still live among them today, but they are forced to work for them. The land was also given to the tribe of Manasseh. Joseph's oldest son, Machir, Manasseh's oldest son and the father of Gilead, was a great soldier. He had already received Gilead and Bashan on the east side of the Jordan. Land was also given to the rest of the families of the tribe of Manasseh: Abza, Helch, Azrael, Shechem, Hepher, and Shemitah. These were the male descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, divided by families. Zeopad, son of Hepher, had no sons, only daughters. Their names were Maha, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tuzah. They went to Eleazar the priest, Joshua, son of Nun, and the leaders. They said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us land just as to the men." So Joshua gave them land just as the Lord had said. 10 shares of land went to Manasseh, in addition to the land in Gilead and Bashan, east of the Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh received land like the sons. The rest of the people of Manasseh received their land in Gilead. The land of Manasseh went from Asher to Michmoth, east of Shechem. The border went south to the people living at Tapua. Manasseh had the land of Tapua, but Tapua itself on the border of Manasseh belonged to the Ephraimites. Then the border continued south along the Canaan ravine. These cities belonged to Ephraim, even though they were in the middle of Manasseh's land. The border of Manasseh ran along the north side of the ravine and ended at the sea. The south side of the territory belonged to Ephraim, and the north side belonged to Manasseh. The sea was the western border. Asher was on the north and Issachar was on the east. Within the land of Issachar and Asher, Manasseh had these towns: Bethshan, Elam, Dor, Ender, Tonic, and Megiddo, each with its surrounding villages. But the people of Manasseh were not able to take these cities because the Canaanites kept living there. Later, when the Israelites became stronger, they forced the Canaanites to work for them, but they never completely drove them out. The descendants of Joseph said to Joshua, "Why have you given us only one part of the land as our share? We have many people because the Lord has blessed us greatly." Joshua replied, "If you have so many people, go up into the forest and clear land for yourselves in the hill country of the Perizzites and Rephaites, since the hill country of Ephraim is too small for you." But the people of Joseph said, "The hill country is not enough for us. All the Canaanites in the valley have iron chariots, those in Bethshan and its surrounding towns and those in the valley of Jezreel." Joshua said to the people of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, "You have many people and great strength. You will have more than one share of land. The hill country will be yours. Even though it's a forest, you can clear it, and it will be yours. You will drive out the Canaanites, even though they are strong and have iron chariots." All the Israelites gathered at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The land was now under their control, but 7 tribes of Israel had not yet received their share of the land. Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you wait before taking the land the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given you? Choose 3 men from each tribe. I will send them to go and map out the land. They should write a description of it, dividing it into 7 parts. Then they will come back to me. You must divide the land into 7 parts. Judah will stay in its territory in the south, and the tribes of Joseph will remain in theirs in the north. After you map out and write descriptions of the 7 parts, bring them here to me. I will cast lots for you here in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites don't get any land. Their share is serving the Lord. The tribes of Gad, Reuben, and half of Manasseh have already received land east of the Jordan given by Moses, the servant of the Lord." So the men got ready to go. Joshua told them, "Go, explore the land, and write down what you find. Then come back, and I will cast lots for you here in Shiloh before the Lord." So the men left, traveled through the land, and wrote down a description of it by towns, divided into 7 parts. Then they returned to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. Joshua cast lots for them in the presence of the Lord at Shiloh. There he divided the land among the Israelites according to their tribal divisions. The first lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin. According to its families, their territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the north side their border began at the Jordan River, went up the north slope of Jericho, and continued into the hill country westward, ending at the wilderness of Beth-aven. From there, it went south to Luz, also called Bethel, down to Ataroth Adar on the hill south of Lower Beth-horon. The border curved around the west side, going south from the hill near Beth-horon and ending at Kirith-baal, also called Kirith-garim, a town of Judah. This was the western border. The southern border started at the edge of Kirith-garim and went to the springs of Neb. It went down to the foot of the hill facing the valley of Ben-Hinnom north of the valley of Rephaim, then continued down the Hinnom valley along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, Jerusalem. It went down to En-Rogel. From there it curved north, went to En-Shemesh, then to Galiloth near the Adam Pass, down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben, passed north to the slope of Beth-Arabach and went down into the Arab. It continued to the northern slope of Beth-Hogla and ended at the northern bay of the Dead Sea at the mouth of the Jordan River. This was the southern border. The Jordan River was the eastern border. These were the boundaries around the land given to the tribe of Benjamin. Towns for Benjamin's tribe. The towns for the tribe of Benjamin by families included Jericho, Beth-Hogla, Emzes, Beth-Arabah, Zamarim, Bethel-aim, Pera, Aphra, Kia, Ammon, Ophni, and Gaba. 12 towns with their villages: Gibeon, Ramah-Beres, Mizpah, Kaphirah, Mosa, Reggam, Eril, Terala, Zela, Halif, Jabes, Jerusalem, Geba, and Kirath. 14 towns with their villages. This was the land given to the families of the tribe of Benjamin. The second lot was for the tribe of Simeon. According to their families, their share was inside the territory of Judah. Their inheritance included Beersheba, Sheba, Malada, Hazah, Shubala, Bethul, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth-Maraboth, Hazar-Susa, Beth-Lebath, and Sharuan. 13 towns with their villages: Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashan. 4 towns with their villages. All the villages around these towns as far as Balath, Beerama in the Negev. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Simeon. Simeon's share was taken from Judah's portion because Judah's land was more than it needed. So Simeon got their inheritance inside Judah's territory. Land for Zebulun. The third lot was for the tribe of Zebulun, according to their families. The border of their land went as far as Sor. It went west to Marilla, touched to Bashith, and reached a stream near Jokneam. Then it turned east toward the sunrise to Kisloth-Tabor, and went to Dabereth and up to Japhia. From there it continued east to Gath-Hefer and Eth-Kazin, came out at Rimmon and turned toward Nah. The border turned north to Hanathan and ended at the valley of If. It included the towns of Kadath-Nahalo, Shimron, Idalora, and Bethlehem. 12 towns with their villages. These towns and villages were the inheritance for Zebulun's families. Land for Issachar. The fourth lot was for the tribe of Issachar according to their families. Their land included Jezreel, Kasaleth, Shunem, Hapharim, Shenohareth, Rabbi, Kishon, Ebes, Reth, Inanom, Enha, and Beth-Pass. The border touched Tabor, Shahazuma, and Beth-Shemesh and ended at the Jordan. 16 towns with their villages. The fifth lot was for the tribe of Asher, according to their families. Their land included Helkath, Holi, Beton, Aksheph, Alamelch, Amad, and Michel. It touched Carmel westward and Shahori Libnath. Then it turned east to Beth Din, touched Zebulun and the valley Aphtel, and went north to Beth Canal, passing Cabel on the left. It went to Abdon Rehob, Hammond, and Cana, as far as Greater Sidon. Then the border turned toward Ramah, and the fortified city of Tai turned toward Hosa, and ended at the sea near Akibumah, Afk, and Rehob, 22 towns with their villages. These towns and villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Asher, land for Naphtali. The sixth lot was for Naphtali, according to their families. Their border went from Helephan the oak in Zaname past Adami, Nekab, and Jabnel, to Lakam, and ended at the Jordan. The border turned west to Aznoth. Tabor went to Hukok, touched Zebulun in the south, Asher in the west, and the Jordan in the east. Their fortified cities were Zidim, Zer, Hamath, Rakath, Kinnoth, Adamah, Ramah Hazor, Kadesh, Edrei, and Asor, Idon, Madal, Orem, Beth Anath, and Beth Shemesh, 19 with their villages. These towns and villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Naphtali, land for Dan. The seventh lot was for the tribe of Dan, according to their families. Their land included Zorah, Etel, Ersh, Laban, Elan, Timnah, Ekron, Gibthon, Baloth, Jehud, Benadak, Gath, Raman, Majarkon, and Rakon, with the area facing Joppa. But the Dites had trouble taking their territory, so they attacked Lashim, captured it, put the people to the sword, took it, and settled there. They renamed it Dan after their ancestor. These towns and villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Dan, land for Joshua. When they finished dividing the land, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun a portion among them. They gave him the town he asked for, Timnath-Serah, in the hill country of Ephraim. He built up the town and lived there. These were the territories assigned by Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal families of Israel. They divided the land by casting lots before the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting at Shiloh. So they finished dividing the land. Then the Lord spoke to Joshua. He said, "Tell the Israelites to choose the cities of refuge as I commanded through Moses. Anyone who accidentally kills someone can run to one of these cities. They will be safe there from the person trying to get revenge. When someone runs to one of these cities, they must stop at the entrance of the city gate and explain what happened to the city leaders. Then the leaders must let the person into the city and give them a place to live safely. If the family of the dead person comes to take revenge, the city leaders must not hand over the one who killed because it was an accident and not done out of hate. The person must stay in that city until they stand trial before the people and until the high priest who is serving at that time dies. Then the person can go back to their own home and town where they ran from." So they set apart these cities: Kadesh in Galilee in the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Hebron, also called Kiriath Arba, in the hill country of Judah, on the east side of the Jordan River across from Jericho. They chose Bezer in the desert plains in the tribe of Reuben, Ramoth in Gilead from the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan from the tribe of Manasseh. These were the cities chosen for all the Israelites and for the foreigners living among them. Anyone who killed someone accidentally could run to one of these cities. Then they would not be killed by the avenger of blood before standing trial in front of the people. The leaders of the Levite families approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the Israelite tribes. They said to them at Shiloh in Canaan, "The Lord commanded through Moses that we be given towns to live in along with pasture lands for our animals." So, as the Lord had instructed, the Israelites gave the Levites towns and pasture lands from their own inheritance. The first lot went to the Kohathite clans. The descendants of Ion, who were priests, received 13 towns from the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The rest of the Kohathites received 10 towns from the tribes of Ephraim, Dan, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. The Gershonites received 13 towns from the tribes of Issachar, Asher, and Naphtali, and the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The Merites received 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. The Israelites assigned these towns and pasture lands to the Levites by casting lots, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. Towns for the descendants of Aaron, priests from the tribes of Judah and Simeon, they gave the following towns. These were for the descendants of Aaron from the Kathite clans of the Levites. They gave them Kiriath Arba, also known as Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, along with its surrounding pasture lands. Arba was the forefather of Ain, but the fields and villages around the city were given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his possession. So to the descendants of Aaron the priest, they gave Hebron, a city of refuge for those who accidentally killed someone. Libnah, Jatir, Ichua, Holon, Debah, Ain, Judah, and Beth Shemesh, 9 towns from these 2 tribes. From the tribe of Benjamin they gave Gibeon, Gabber, Anathoth, and Almon, 4 towns. In total, the descendants of Aaron received 13 towns and their pasture lands, towns for the rest of the Kathite clans. The other Kathite clans received towns from the tribe of Ephraim: Shechem, a city of refuge in the hill country of Ephraim, Gaza, Kibziam, and Beth-horon, for towns. From the tribe of Dan, they received Eltik, Gibthon, Alan, and Gathaman for towns. From the half-tribe of Manasseh they received Tanakh and Gathaman, 2 towns. In total, these Kohathite clans received 10 towns and their pasture lands. Towns for the Gershonite clans. From the half-tribe of Manasseh they received Golan in Bashan, a city of refuge, and Besha, 2 towns. From the tribe of Issachar they received Kishon, Dabereth, Jarmuth, and Inonem for towns. From the tribe of Asher they received Mishal, Abdon, Helkath, and Rehob for towns. From the tribe of Naphtali they received Kadesh in Galilee, a city of refuge, Hamathtor, and Kartan, 3 towns. In total, the Gershonites received 13 towns and their pasture lands. Towns for the Merite clans. From the tribe of Zebulun they received Jachnim, Karta, Dimnah, and Nahalo, 4 towns. From the tribe of Reuben they received Besa, Jahaz, Kedmoth, and Meath, 4 towns. From the tribe of Gad they received Ramoth in Gilead, a city of refuge, Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer, 4 towns. In total, the Merites received 12 towns and their pasture lands. Altogether, the Levites received 48 towns and their surrounding pasture lands. Each of these towns had its own pasture lands. God fulfills his promises. So the Lord gave Israel all the land he had promised to their ancestors, and they took possession of it and settled there. The Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he had sworn to their ancestors. Not one of their enemies stood against them. The Lord gave all their enemies into their hands. Not one of all the Lord's good promises to Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. Then Joshua called together the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. He said to them, "You have done everything Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and you have also obeyed me in everything I told you. You have not deserted your fellow Israelites for a long time. You have been careful to obey the Lord your God. Now that the Lord your God has given peace to your fellow Israelites, just as he promised, go back to your own homes, to the land Moses gave you east of the Jordan River. But be very careful to obey the law that Moses gave you. Love the Lord your God, walk in his ways, obey his commands, stay close to him, and serve him with all your heart and soul." Then Joshua blessed them and sent them away. They went back to their homes. Moses had given land to half the tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. Joshua gave land to the other half with their fellow tribes in the west. When Joshua sent them home, he blessed them. He said, "Go back to your homes with great wealth, with large herds, silver, gold, bronze, iron, and many clothes. Share the plunder from your enemies with your fellow Israelites." So the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh left the rest of the Israelites at Shiloh in Canaan and returned home to Gilead, the land they received by the command of the Lord through Moses. When they came to the region near the Jordan in Canaan, they built a large, impressive altar by the Jordan River. When the rest of the Israelites heard what they had done, they said, "The Reubenites, Gadites, and half-tribe of Manasseh have built an altar on the border of Canaan near the Jordan." So the whole community of Israel gathered at Shiloh to go to war against them. They sent Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, to the land of Gilead to talk to Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. With him were 10 leaders, one from each of the tribes of Israel, the heads of their families. When they arrived, they said, 16, "Why are you turning against the Lord? Why have you built an altar to rebel against him? Don't you remember what happened with the sin at Peor? We still suffer because of it. This sin brought a plague on us. Now you are turning away from the Lord again. If you rebel today, tomorrow he will be angry with all of Israel. If your land is unclean, come over to the Lord's land where his tabernacle stands. But don't rebel by building your own altar besides the altar of the Lord our God. Remember Achan. He kept some things devoted to destruction, and God's anger fell on all of Israel. He was not the only one who died for his sin." Their defense. Then the Reubenites, Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh replied, "The mighty one, God, the Lord, he knows the truth. If we built this altar to turn away from him or to offer sacrifices on it, may the Lord punish us, but we did not build it for sacrifices or offerings. We did it because we were worried. One day your children might say to our children, 'You have no part in the Lord.' They might say, 'The Lord made the Jordan a boundary between us. You're not part of the Lord's people.' So we said, 'Let's build an altar, not for sacrifices, but as a witness between us and you and all future generations that we worship the Lord too at his altar with our offerings and sacrifices. Then your children can't say we don't belong to the Lord.' We said, 'If they ever say that, we will reply, look at this replica of the Lord's altar our ancestors built. It is not for sacrifices but as a witness between us and you.' We would never rebel against the Lord or stop following him by building an altar for sacrifices, offerings, or burnt offerings. Only the altar of the Lord our God at his tabernacle." When Phinehas and the leaders heard this, they were pleased. Phinehas said, "Now we know the Lord is among us because you did not sin against him. You saved Israel from God's anger." Then Phinehas and the leaders returned to the Israelites in Canaan and gave their report. The Israelites were glad. They praised God and stopped talking about going to war. The Reubenites and Gadites named the altar a witness between us that the Lord is God. A long time passed after the Lord gave Israel peace from all their enemies. Joshua was now very old. He called all Israel together, the leaders, elders, judges, and officials. He said to them, "I am very old. You have seen everything the Lord your God has done to all these nations. For your sake, the Lord your God has fought for you. I have given you the land of these nations as your inheritance. This includes the land of those who remain as well as those we already defeated from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea in the west. The Lord your God will force them out for you. You will take possession of their land just as the Lord promised. Be strong, be careful to obey everything written in the book of the law of Moses. Don't turn away from it. Don't mix with these nations that are left. Don't say the names of their gods or swear by them. Don't serve them or bow down to them. Hold firmly to the Lord your God as you have done until now. The Lord has driven out great and powerful nations before you. No one has been able to stand against you. One of you can chase 1,000 because the Lord your God fights for you just as he promised. So be very careful to love the Lord your God. But if you turn away and join with the nations that remain among you, if you intermarry and associate with them, then know for sure that the Lord will no longer drive these nations out for you. Instead, they will become traps and snares for you, whips on your backs, and thorns in your eyes until you perish from this good land the Lord has given you. Now, I am about to die, as everyone must. You know with all your heart and soul that not one of the Lord's good promises has failed. Everyone has come true. But just as all the good things the Lord promised have happened, so he will bring punishment if you break his covenant. He will destroy you from this good land. If you violate the covenant of the Lord your God and serve other gods, his anger will burn against you and you will quickly be destroyed from the land he has given you. Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel at Shechem. He called together the elders, leaders, judges, and officials, and they stood before God. Joshua said to all the people, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Long ago your ancestors, including Terah, the father of Abraham and Nahor, lived beyond the Euphrates River and worshipped other gods. But I took your father Abraham from that land and led him throughout Canaan. I gave him many descendants. I gave him Isaac, and to Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau. I gave Esau the hill country of Seir, but Jacob and his children went to Egypt. Then I sent Moses and Aaron, and I brought terrible plagues on Egypt. Later I brought you out. When I brought your people out of Egypt, you came to the sea. The Egyptians chased after your ancestors with chariots and horsemen to the Red Sea, but they cried out to the Lord. And he put darkness between you and the Egyptians. He brought the sea over them and covered them. You saw with your own eyes what I did to Egypt. Then you lived in the wilderness for a long time. I brought you to the land of the Amorites east of the Jordan. They fought against you, but I gave them into your hands. I destroyed them before you, and you took their land. Then Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, prepared to fight Israel. He sent for Balaam, son of Beor, to curse you. But I would not listen to Balaam, so he blessed you again and again, and I delivered you from his hand. Then you crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho. The people of Jericho fought against you, as did the Amorites, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hittites, Jebusites, Hivites, and Jebusites. But I gave them into your hands. I sent hornets ahead of you to drive them out. 2 kings of the Amorites. It was not by your sword or bow. I gave you a land you didn't work for, and cities you didn't build. You live in them and eat from vineyards and olive groves you didn't plant. Now fear the Lord and serve him faithfully. Throw away the gods your ancestors worshipped beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt. Serve the Lord only. But if serving the Lord seems wrong to you, then choose today whom you will serve, whether the gods your ancestors served or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you live. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Then the people answered, "Far be it from us to forsake the Lord and serve other gods. It was the Lord our God who brought us and our parents up out of Egypt from that land of slavery. He did great signs before our eyes. He protected us and brought us through nations. The Lord drove out before us all the nations, including the Amorites. We too will serve the Lord because he is our God." Joshua said to the people, "You are not able to serve the Lord. He is a holy and jealous God. If you forsake him and serve foreign gods, he will turn and bring disaster on you after all the good he has done." But the people said, "No, we will serve the Lord." Then Joshua said, "You are witnesses against yourselves, that you have chosen to serve the Lord." And they said, "We are witnesses." Now then, Joshua said, "Throw away the foreign gods among you, and turn your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel." And the people said, "We will serve the Lord our God and obey him." On that day, Joshua made a covenant for the people, and there at Shechem he gave them laws and rules. Joshua wrote these things in the book of the law of God. Then he took a large stone and set it up under the oak near the holy place of the Lord. He said, "This stone will be a witness against us. It has heard all the words the Lord said to us. It will be a witness against you if you are untrue to your God." Then Joshua dismissed the people to their own inheritance. After these things, Joshua son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110. They buried him in the land of his inheritance at Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash. Israel served the Lord throughout the lifetime of Joshua and of the elders who outlived him and had seen everything the Lord had done for Israel. Joseph's bones, which the Israelites had brought from Egypt, were buried at Shechem in the plot of land Jacob had bought. This land became the inheritance of Joseph's descendants. Elaz, a son of Aaron, died and was buried at Geba, the town given to his son Phinehas in the hill country of Ephraim. Now it's your turn. After every battle, every command, every moment of faith and failure, what did you learn from the book of Joshua? What verse shook you? What lesson will you carry into your own life? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's not just read history. Let's live the legacy.